What is up, everybody? It is JT Sports. I am back to you guys with another video, and I'm here with my Cleveland Browns 2021 record prediction. Going to be giving you guys my best case scenario, my worst case scenario, and my overall record prediction for the Browns this upcoming season. Before I get into it, if you haven't already, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I upload a new video. And most importantly, make sure that you guys help a brother out. Hit that like button. That like button is really important because when you hit that like button, you help the video rank higher in the YouTube search algorithm. If I rank higher in the YouTube search algorithm, then the channel gets more views and you help the channel grow. So make sure that you guys hit that like button. It takes less than a second to do so, and it's a free way to support the channel. The Browns last year went 11-5, and they tied with the Ravens for second place in the AFC North, going to the playoffs, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm really high on the Browns. I feel like the Browns are going to end up facing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game this year, and that means a lot because it's coming from a Steelers fan. But the Browns have probably the most complete roster in the league. They're off the line, one of the best. Baker Mayfield is really good. You have Odell Beckham coming back, which I think Odell Beckham probably could end up being in that comeback player of the year discussion. He probably will end up finishing behind Dak Prescott. You have Jarvis Landry. You have a lot of depth at wide receiver. You have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, arguably the best running back duo in the NFL. You have tons of talent at tight end. Your defense should be really good. You improve linebacker by drafting JOK out of Notre Dame. Like, the Browns are absolutely loaded at every single position, and I can't really name a single weakness that the Browns have on the roster. Maybe when you guys in the comment section can help me with that, but I don't really think there's a weakness on this team. My best case scenario for Cleveland is going to be 14-3. I feel like this team probably could end up having either the best or the second best record in the whole entire AFC. I know their schedule isn't easy because you start the season out on the road against the Chiefs, but then you have a pretty light stretch where you play the Texans, the Bears, and the Vikings, which the Bears and the Vikings aren't teams to sleep on, but I definitely feel like Cleveland will probably be a favorite to win most of those games. And pretty much after that Chiefs game, they're probably going to be a favorite to win in their next couple of games all the way until they face the Steelers in week 8, and then you have to face the Patriots in week 10. So for Cleveland, I definitely feel like this team can go 14-3. They probably could end up having the best record in the whole entire AFC because this team pretty much has no weaknesses. And like I mentioned, if you guys can give me a glaring weakness or a glaring position of concern, go ahead and help me. Go ahead and help me down in the comment section down below, because looking at this roster top to bottom, like, I really don't see one. This is a really complete team, which is why I think they are the team that most likely will be facing the Chiefs in the conference championship game for the AFC this season, because everybody else, you look at the Bills, you look at the Ravens, you look at the Titans, like, yeah, those are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, but I feel like the Browns and the Chiefs are in a different tier. They're in the tier 1 of Super Bowl contenders for the AFC. Then you have the tier 2, which are teams that, yeah, they have Super Bowl caliber rosters, but they're not complete teams. We don't know about the defense for Tennessee. We don't know how improved it's going to be. We don't know if Buffalo is going to be able to have a running game or if they're going to have a pass rush this year. So Cleveland and Kansas City are the two most complete teams in the whole entire conference. My worst case scenario for Cleveland is going to be 10-7. If everything goes wrong for Cleveland this year, I think they're still going to make it into the playoffs. Like, unless something catastrophic happens and they just have this whole entire slew of injuries, and not just injuries to their starters, but injuries to their backups, and they have to get guys off the street to play, then they're probably going to end up winning 10 games. Because one thing about Cleveland is that not only do they have a lot of talent when it comes to their starters, but they have a lot of quality depth at every position. If one guy goes down, they can bring another guy off the bench to come in and fill that role. Like, there's so much depth on this team. So if, God forbid, they were to have an injury to a significant player, I feel like they have enough depth that they could go and win 10 games with the backups that they have if they were unfortunately to have everything go wrong due to injuries or whatnot. But even if they just underperform, like this team is just too talented that even if they're not playing their best football during the regular season, they still should be in, they still should make it into the playoffs. They still should win double-digit games. Now, you do play in a really tough division. And I don't believe that the Browns are going to just cakewalk through this division. You're probably going to split with Baltimore. You're probably going to split with Pittsburgh. But you probably will sweep the Bengals. You probably are going to just mop the floor of Cincinnati because I feel like you're just a way more superior team. Not just talent-wise, but from a coaching perspective. And on top of that, Cincinnati can't stop the run. Their linebacker unit is still pretty weak. So for Cleveland, I think the only team in this division that they probably won't split a game with are going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals played them pretty close last year when they had Joe Burrow. Now, before I get into my overall record prediction for the Browns, I want to give you guys my 2 biggest swing games this season for Cleveland. For those of you guys who haven't been watching my previous record predictions, swing games are not must-win games, but these are season-defining games that could affect the outcome of how this year goes for the Browns. Week 1 against Kansas City is a game that I am going to be watching because simply, this probably could be a preview of the AFC Conference Championship game, and we get this game week 1. We have 2 of the best, most complete teams, not only in the AFC, but the whole entire NFL duking it out, scrapping against each other week 1, and it's going to be on the road to Kansas City. And I want to see if Cleveland is going to be up to the task because I really felt like that playoff loss against the Chiefs really could have went the opposite way in the Browns' favor. You had the fumble and the end zone by Peoples-Jones. Like, I feel like if they didn't have that fumble by Donovan Peoples-Jones, I feel like that game probably could have went in a different direction. So for Cleveland, I'm really interested to see what they do against Kansas City. I think they're going to end up pulling off the upset because I think they're probably going to be an underdog in that game. And I'm going to take the under with Cleveland and say that they end up pulling off a big-time upset on the road week 1. And that gets the momentum going for the start of the season. Then week 14 against Baltimore, I feel like that's a really key game for Cleveland because that game is probably going to end up deciding the division. Because I feel like the Browns and the Ravens are going to be the 2 teams scrapping out to see who ends up winning the AFC North this year. So I think that Ravens game is going to be really big because that's the last time you play the Ravens. And after that, you pretty much are going to have your destiny not in your hands depending on what Baltimore does and depending on how you close out the season. Because you got to end up playing the Raiders, the Packers, the Steelers, and the Bengals, which you should be Cincinnati the last week of the season. But that's not a really easy schedule to close out the year. Aside from Cincinnati, your 3 games before that are the Raiders, Packers, and the Steelers, which all 3 of those teams should be playoff teams, or at least they should be competing for playoff spots. My overall record prediction for the Browns this year is going to be 11-6. Even though I think they're going to end up beating Kansas City, I do feel like they're going to have some slip-ups. They are going to lose at least the game to at least Pittsburgh and Baltimore. So now you're looking at 2 losses. Then you're probably going to end up slipping up against maybe Minnesota, the Chargers, or Arizona. Then you got to face New England on the road. So definitely some games that they could end up losing. So you already are going to split 2 games with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So that's 2 losses there. And then I feel like those other 4 losses are probably going to come during that Vikings, Chargers, Cardinals stretch. Then you got to face Arizona. So definitely I could see Cleveland having a better record than 11-6. But with how tight this division is and how tough the schedule is going to be for Cleveland, I feel like they are going to end up having a couple of mishaps here and there. But overall, this is still going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. And like I mentioned earlier, my best case scenario, if everything goes right for Cleveland, 14-3. So you guys let me know your record prediction for the Cleveland Browns down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos and college football videos. And thanks for watching.